So, something huge is going on inside one of the biggest tech companies in the world. And it's not just a new product, no. It's a fundamental change to how Google itself is being built line by line. And it's all thanks to its newest and maybe most productive coder, artificial intelligence. To really get a handle on just how big this is, we've got to start with one number. Just one.
Yeah, more than a quarter. Now, think about a company the size of Google. What on earth could that number be talking about?
And there it is. According to CEO Sundar Pichai, over a quarter of all new code at Google is now being written by AI. And look, we're not just talking about some fancy autocomplete here. We are talking about AI generating huge, significant chunks of the software that powers pretty much everything Google does.
But here's the kicker. It's not just about cranking out code faster. What's really surprising is how it's affecting the people doing the work. Pichai says this whole shift is actually making the job of being a software developer more enjoyable. It's changing the very feel of the work itself.
So this whole new way of doing things, it's actually got a name that's really starting to take off across the industry: vibe coding. And it represents a massive shift in how we even think about building software. Okay, so what is vibe coding? Well, the term was actually coined earlier this year by OpenAI co-founder Andre Karpathy, and it's basically the art of just talking to a computer. You describe the vibe, the goal of what you want to build, in plain English, and the AI does the heavy lifting with all the complex code. I mean, the difference here is just night and day, right? On one hand, you've got traditional coding, which for a lot of people feels like climbing a mountain of strict rules and complicated syntax. On the other hand, you have vibe coding, which is more like an open door. It massively lowers the barrier to entry, so creators can focus on what they want to build, not just get bogged down in the how. It's a real game changer. But here's where it gets really interesting. This tech revolution isn't happening in a vacuum. It's tied to this massive cultural shakeup happening inside Google. The company is literally trying to get its old startup energy back.
Now, this didn't just pop up out of nowhere. Google's been playing the long game here. It all started way back in 2016 when Pichai announced their AI-first strategy. Then, for years, they were quietly merging their big AI teams, Brin and DeepMind. But the real turning point was the launch of Gemini 3 this month. That's what kicked off what they're calling their implementation period.
And you can really feel this new energy. I love this quote from Pichai about the company tea room. He sees it as this little microcosm of how the new, more nimble Google works. It's about that close-knit, collaborative feeling. And you know who's a huge part of this? Co-founder Sergey Brin. The guy is back from semi-retirement, and he's right in the thick of it with the Gemini AI project. He's literally making coffee for the team, cutting through red tape. It's a huge signal that they're serious about moving fast, just like in the old days. Okay, so you've got the cultural revival, you've got the tech breakthrough. What does that all add up to? Well, the market has definitely noticed, and the number is just mind-blowing. Yep, $3.86 trillion. That's Alphabet's market cap. The company's stock has shot up nearly 70% this year alone. That's insane. It's made them the third most valuable company on the planet, right behind NVIDIA and Apple. But, and this is super important, Google is not doing this in a vacuum. Not at all. This is part of a massive, industry-wide arms race where the stakes are unbelievably high. And when I say arms race, I mean it. Check this out. While Google is hitting that 25+% mark, Microsoft's Satya Nadella just revealed his company is already seeing as much as 30% of its new code written by AI. This is a flat-out head-to-head battle. And this isn't just about Google and Microsoft. This AI boom is exploding everywhere you look. You've got SoftBank dumping billions into chip design, retailers like Newegg using AI for shopping, even entire countries like Mexico are building supercomputers to keep up. This is a truly global wave. So, with all this happening so fast, where does this all lead? What does the future of building things actually look like? It seems like the big challenge is going to be balancing all this crazy innovation with some real caution.
And even Sundar Pichai, as excited as he is pumping the brakes a little. He's been very clear about the security risks, especially when you're dealing with these gigantic critical code bases, where, as he says, you really have to get it right. One tiny mistake could have huge consequences.
What's really happening here is that we're handing over the how to the AI. That frees up human minds, right, to focus on the what and the why. And that leads us to the biggest question of all for this new era of technology. If the Vibe can write the code, who gets to write the future?